Hello there, sword friends. This is going to be a semi-informational video, hopefully, anyway, that illustrates how I clean rust off a sword. Now, to drive home the point, I'm going to share a little bit with you. This is a wakizashi, the one I haven't cleaned yet. It's an oil, or CLP, and hopefully you can see some of the surface rust. This is very similar to what was on the katana that I'm about to show you. The katana is what I cleaned off. This is Demdare Katana, and this had very similar surface rust on it, but I cleaned it off, and now it's acceptable. Far from perfect, mind you, but acceptable. The process is basically I'm using a metal polish called Flintz, and I'm going to put a link in the description down below to their website. It's Flintz metal polish. It's nothing particularly special. An alternative would be using a substance called Mother's Mag metal polish. I use that, but I find Mother's Mag to be a little more subtle, as in a little less aggressive in terms of how much steel it takes off and how quickly it works. Flint's I find to be a little bit more aggressive, and if I'm dealing with larger bits of surface rust similar to what you've seen here, then that's what I choose to use. For more minor kind of coffee stain looking things or goo, I use Mother's Mag, or just general cleaning, I use Mother's Mag. But there are some things to note. One, if you're putting on any kind of metal polish, know that your hamon or any kind of etching on the blade may be obscured or diminished. That's something you have to be careful with, and you want to apply an even pressure throughout the blade so that it wears off evenly and you don't have any kind of really shiny spots. Two, you could dull the blade, you could cut yourself. There are some hazards just to running your hand across the blade. You might, again, one, dull it, or two, let it be very sharp and have it cut into the meat of your hand. And three, it's messy. Know that you want to be in clothes that you're not afraid of losing when you do it. But that's really the stuff you want to be aware of, hopefully in that order. I probably should have put cutting yourself in that order. But the reason I choose to do this way is that it requires very little skill and very little time. Generally speaking, if I send a sword off to be polished, it costs like $1,000 to be polished, and sometimes swords don't warrant that kind of price. And sometimes you can get a rusty sword like this at a really good deal. So what can you do to fix it? And that's this. And there are a lot of different ways to do this. Some people do it in more complicated, more skillful, more artisanal ways, if you will. And I frankly have neither the time nor the artisanal skill to do those things. And that's why I choose this way. I slop some goop on it. I stroke it back and forth. She doesn't get it yet. And basically then I'm left with a reasonably clean sword, at least significantly better than it was before, and my, the potential of it rusting out and getting worse is diminished. So that's why I do it this way, because it's really easy and requires no skill. So know that, but again, actually I probably should have noted, along with cutting yourself and dulling the blade, you could also in addition, kind of diminish some of the crispness of the lines, particularly if you have a nice, clean shinogi. That might be muddled a little bit by doing this, depending on how aggressive you are with the polish. Anyway, very little skill, reasonable result. You saw some of the examples before. Now, that's what I'm going to show you is I took the katana and I applied Flintz and I polished it. I also applied Flintz to the saya and it got rid of some of it. It's a reasonable lacquer polish as well as a metal polish. It does a pretty good job. It also does a great job of cleaning up your headlights. So that's about all I have for you in terms of what it really does. And now you can see the boring video. I'm sure that was really boring, but hopefully you got some idea of what it's capable of doing. That's really about all I wanted to share with you, is just a way of cleaning up a sword, and hopefully you found it interesting or helpful. And that's all I have for you. If you have a way of cleaning up a sword, if you have links to ways that are more effective or better, let me know in the link down below. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Again, this is apply schmutz and stroke back and forth, and you get something better as a result. But there are, again, better ways, and if you have a steadier hand than I do, maybe there is a more effective way for you to skin that cat, metaphorically speaking. So that's about all I have. As always, cheers, and thanks for watching. Thank you for getting a pizza. I love you. Come here and let me squeeze your butt. Smile, you're on the internet. Flex.
Can I click?
Preferably not. Let's try this shit one more time.